It's Jim and Sydney with the third episode in the series on how to choose your web host. In this episode, we're going to cover what we feel are some of the must-have features that a web hosting service should provide.
So let's get right to it. What bundled software and integration features does the web host offer?
Let's start with what bundled software is. Bundled software includes the term used for programs, software, or applications that are included in the web hosting at no additional cost. If there is a charge for it, you don't have bundled software.
When considering bundled software, be aware of the types of applications offered as bundled software.
One type is for e-commerce applications. E-commerce applications consist of two main groups, business to business known as B2B, and business to consumer, or B2C. To illustrate the cost savings of bundled software, let's use the extreme example for a moment that you are self-hosting your website. That is running your site from a private server exclusively used for your website. Without the availability of bundled software from a hosting service, it would be extremely expensive to set up shop, because each add-on program or utility needed comes at an additional cost. We would never suggest going through the expense and extreme nuisance of self-hosting. But using a web hosting service that doesn't provide bundled software would not be the worst thing to do.
Then again, it's not the best either. So when operating a commercial website, what type of software and utilities should the web host make available to you?
Whether using an e-commerce platform or a conventional hosting provider, the following types of applications and features are out-and-out necessities for e-commerce. First, there's PCI, or Payment Card Industry Data Security, which ensures the safety of credit card payments you receive is security compliant. Next, shopping cart software, which handles the transactions between your website and the various credit card providers. Another financial utility is the payment gateway, which is different than credit card processing. The difference is that the gateway connects the consumer's bank to the merchant's account, making the actual movement of money happen. Then there are other e-commerce tools like the website building utilities mentioned before. They include customer service software, product information management software, templates for an online catalog, tools for tracking orders and inventory management, and a storefront setup utility needed to physically generate your product presentation.
And let's not forget that the site needs to be mobile-friendly.
If it's not mobile-friendly, it won't have the functionality to perform properly on a cell phone as on a computer, or any other device. Or maybe not at all. And don't confuse mobile-friendly with mobile optimization. A mobile-optimized site is designed for use on small-screen devices, particularly cell phones. Mobile optimization requires two unique websites, one for computers, and one for mobile use. What you need to remember is one very simple premise. Your site design must be adaptive to all device types. And mobile-friendly design means that all of the elements of your website are easily viewable, and work equally over every platform, including smartphones and tablets.
There is also a somewhat sneaky nuance when reviewing website utilities.
Always be aware of the difference between software labeled as bundled, and software termed as available. Available usually is a euphemism for an extra cost.
The next topic deals with content management systems.
What is CMS, or a content management system? CMS is software that helps the website creator easily produce, change, and manage the content. To be more precise, it's software that makes any knowledge of code and programming a thing of the past. The CMS manages the rudimentary infrastructure of site building so that the creator can focus on the visual, rather than the coding aspect. Content management can be utilized for any genre, but can also focus on specific site types like blogs and forums, plus educational and information sites. Besides the ubiquitous social networking websites, and the e-commerce type we discussed earlier, and portfolio sites that showcase creative skills. Usually, the CMS has an editor form of interface that allows for the composition, alteration, and management of the content. The term used for this part of site development is called the front end. There is also a remote area to store the content, data, and media in a database.
This part of web development uses the not-so-clever term, back-end, which resides on the server.
The format utilizes a template system to bring together the design and presentation of the content into the design process. The template eliminates the need for highly technical knowledge, and the direct use of code. Open source CMSs include programs like WordPress, Joomla, and Drupal. The choice of which one to use will depend upon the type or purpose of the website, how complicated the site will be, and the tech talent of the user. For those that lack the skill as a developer, our suggestion is to use WordPress, and stay away from Joomla. WordPress can be extremely efficient with the right plugins, such as web page editors, and provide professional-looking results with a minimal learning curve.
And operate similarly to a word processor.
But for those that want ultimately to become super ninja developers, we suggest deferring to Drupal over Joomla. We will get into the subject matter of page editors in greater detail later on.
Meanwhile, what is a website builder?
A website builder is an all-in-one software tool that does not require any knowledge of coding or extensive design ability. This type of utility provides a drag-and-drop editor to create a fully designed site, which only limits the end product by what your imaginative capabilities are. Drag and drop is a term used to identify a method of web design that uses shortcuts or links within the utility to accomplish what usually requires very difficult and complex coding. In simple terms, the technique basically involves the user clicking on a menu icon or using a few keystrokes. Then the user positions the element at the spot where needed to get the desired results. Some of the web design modules used in drag and drop are media galleries for photos and videos, text editors that work like a word processor, form builders, pricing tables, slideshows, and plenty of pre-designed widgets and shortcut gizmos. And most web hosts provide a free version, or an inexpensive edition of a somewhat more advanced version of a website builder. But do not confuse this method with website building software that would usually reside physically on your computer. We're discussing website building utilities that exist solely on the web host system. When using these web host provided builders, you need to be aware of something that is not immediately apparent. You probably do not get to keep your website. Yes, you heard me correctly. You still have your domain and its content, but you cannot take the finished product to another hosting provider. If you have a reason to change web hosts, and you use something like GoDaddy's utility, you have to redo the entire site from scratch.
In other words, you are an unsuspecting hostage.
And the ransom is the monthly or annual hosting fee. Our word of advice is, never, yes, never let anyone take away the control of any aspect of your internet survival for any reason. The time, effort, and money to get it back to where it was can be devastating. It's wiser to use a page builder that is independent and doesn't rely upon your hosting with the web host service. Using the web host's proprietary utility makes your website not transferable to a new provider when you outgrow the system, or if you have a disagreement with your provider and the provider fails in delivering proper service. Many non-proprietary page building utilities offer free versions of their software, or they offer trial versions of their products so that you can evaluate them with no risk. Some of the trial versions have no time limits, but do have only limited functionality. We strongly suggest, it's better to use software that is not reliant upon a commitment to the hosting service.
Even if you have to pay for it.
Not only do you want the freedom to compose or edit it, but also have control over your site's continued existence. Thanks for watching, and look for the next episode, which deals with the various types of web hosting services and their costs. See you then. To get the entire printed series, click the download link in the description below for our free ebook. Also, don't forget to subscribe and give us a like. We appreciate your support. And please leave a comment. Stay with us to see some of the other episodes in this series. The one on the left is the prior episode, which covers some of the basics of picking a web host. And the one on the right deals with the various types of web hosting services and their costs. Thanks for watching. See you there.